Hello and welcome, I am Helle from Game for Life BG, and today I'm going to take a look at Ecosfera, and this is a prototype version I have of the game. The game is soon going to be on Kickstarter. The game is a game for 1 to 4 players. It takes about 40 to 80 minutes to play and is for the ages 7+. And this is a cooperative game, and I'm going to give you an overview of the game, and then I will come with my first impression of the game. And first, a quick overview of the game. I have set up the game for 2 players. Each player, they're going to get 2 disaster cards. This is these cards. And they're going to get 5 element cards. And they're going to get 1 of each type. So these you're going to shuffle. And then you're going to draw 4 cards and place them face up. So all players, they're going to have their cards face up. And you're going to use your cards to see if you can purchase any cards or if you can build any biome tiles. We have 7 biome tiles, and we need to build all these to complete the game and win the game. If we get all 7 of these extinction tiles, then we're going to lose the game. And we're going to use our cards to purchase new cards. So this is a deck building game where each player is going to build their deck. Each player is also going to start with 3 abilities. So you have an ability, this one, where you can remove all cards from one of these 2 and then fill in 4 new cards. With this one, you will be able to give one of your cards to one of your fellow players or return a card, an element card out here. If you get too many of the same type of cards, that can be bad for you, because if you get 3 of them on a turn, if you get 3 of the same element types when you draw your 4 cards, or if you get 1 more at some point, then you would get one of these disaster cards to your hand. And if you have 3 disaster cards to your hand at any time, then your turn is going to end and you will have to place one of these extinction tiles. So you have to be careful not to get too many of these into your deck. And each player, they are starting with 2. And with this one, you can draw 1 more card. If you use it, you can draw 1 more card to your hand. And you're going to use your cards to buy cards. And these cards, they're called plant and fungi cards, and you can purchase these using element cards. And you can get them if you're only missing 1 symbol, if you have all of the cards needed, or if you're missing 1 symbol. This player has an hourglass and 1 water. At the moment, they actually can't buy anything out here because this card requires you to have 2 suns and a wind. And if you only have 2 of the symbol, then it's okay. Then you can purchase the cards if you grab one of these elements that you are missing from out here. This player can't do anything, but they can then use their plus symbol and draw 1 more card. So they got a sun. So now they have 3 cards. They have the sun, the water, and the hourglass. And they can purchase this card. This card has 2 water and a sun. So they can use these 2 cards, and then they can grab the missing element from here. So if you miss 1 element, you can grab this one, and then you can get 1 card. And these cards you have used, this card you can use if you now had another plant card to your hand, you would be able to use it. And when you have purchased a card, you will always fill in a new card. And if you can purchase more cards, you can do so on your turn. But if you can't do anything, then your turn will be over and you will draw 4 new cards. And if you run out of cards, you will shuffle your discard pile. So you always are going to start with at least 4 cards. You can use this one also to give a card to another player, and it can also be these. So in that way you can help each other, so you can make sure that your fellow players, they can do something. Because if you can't do anything on your turn, then you have to draw one of these disaster cards to your deck. And if you get 3, you will have to place one of these extinction tiles. So when your turn is over, you can then you will draw 4 new cards and you will shuffle your deck and then fill up to 4 cards again. So later in the game, you might have managed to get some of these plant cards. And if you have 2 of the same symbols, this one has the purple, then you can grab an animal with this symbol. So you are going to use your plant fungi cards to get animal cards. So with these 2, we could grab this animal that matches this symbol. And if you have more symbol that matches more animals, you can choose which animal you want. And if you have any of these symbols, you can use these symbols per card you have. So for this one, I can give a card to another player. So I could give this card to this player. So if they had an animal with this symbol, or otherwise they would be able to use these symbols. And if I could use these to grab a card out here, I would also be able to do so, but I can't get any, so that player's turn would be over. And if this player now used this plus symbol, and they would draw one more card, and they would get free water, then their turn would end, and they would get one more disaster card to their deck. If at some point a player has 2 animals to their hand, then they can look at the symbols. If they have any matching symbols, then they will be able to make biome tiles. And this player has 2 matching symbols, so they can make these 2 biome tiles if they haven't been made first. So they can make this one, and they can make the dark green one, this one. So they can start building with the biome tiles. And we of course need to build all of the 7 biome tiles to be able to win the game. So that is what you're going to use the animal cards for, grabbing the biome tiles. If on a turn you can't do anything, this player can't purchase any cards with these 2 symbols, and they cannot use any abilities. They don't have anything where they can get more cards, so they can remove all of the cards out here. They have used their abilities. Then they would have to grab one of these to their hand, and then he would have 3 of these disaster cards. Then you have to build one of these extinction tiles, and then your turn would be over. So in this game, players, they're going to build up their deck. They're going to purchase these plant fungi cards. They're going to grab element cards. If they only have, if they're missing one symbol, then they can purchase the card, and then they're going to get one of these element cards. And if you can then use your plant fungi cards to get the animal cards, and you can use the animal card to get the biome tiles. And that is the way this game is going to work. And if you manage to get all 7, you're going to win. If you get 7 of these extinction tiles, then you're going to lose the game. And that is roughly how the game is played. I have made a playthrough of the game, so if you want to see more of the game, how it's played, then I have made a playthrough with 2 players, so you can see how it's going to be when you have to cooperate with each other. Because this is definitely a game where you have to cooperate. You have to look at more than just what you have. You have to look at all your fellow players if they can do something on their turn, but because perhaps you can help them. Perhaps you can give them one of your cards so you can help them, or you can remove all of these if you have your ability, and then that will be filled with 4 new cards. There is one thing more I can add to the rules, is if you have 2 animals with the same symbol on your hand, then you can reactivate one of your abilities. So that is a way that you can activate these abilities again. If you have 2 animals that have a matching symbol. So you are going to use your abilities to help each other, and you're going to grab cards where there are abilities on them, like this one. If you have these cards, then you also have an ability you can use. And if there are more of these symbols on a card, you can only use one of them. Then you have to choose one of them to use. They are helpful for you, and I definitely recommend getting some of those, because you need to help each other in the game. You need to pass cards around. So if I have an animal card and I can see that you have an animal with the same symbol, so that could do that you could be able to build one of these biome tiles. If I gave you my animal, then I'm definitely going to give you my animal, or give you a plant fungi card if that could help you grabbing an animal up here, and in that way you could get to do something on your turn. Because if you can't do anything on your turn, then you're also going to get one of these disaster cards. So I like the way that you're going to cooperate in this game, and really looking at all players, not just what you have, but you certainly have to look at what your fellow players they have. And together you have to puzzle this out, because it is a puzzle. It's a puzzle to make sure that you get the right cards to the right players, and also make sure that players, they don't get too many of these cards to their deck. So you're going to get too many of these extinction tiles. So yeah, I think it's an easy game to teach and learn. And the only thing we had, this is a prototype, of course, I have of the game. So the only thing I had with the players, they were having to distinguish between the plant and the animal cards. It's easy on the colored cards to see if it's an animal or if it's a plant. But we do have a prototype where some of them, they don't, like this. Is it easy to see which of them is an animal? Yeah, you have to look a bit careful, then you can see it. But this is definitely not a problem when they have been colored up. And if you look at the game, then it's a card game. You have some tiles. Of course, this is prototype tiles. And then you have some ability tiles. They are, of course, going to be different in the final version. And then we have all of the art on the cards. We have the different animals. I like the art on the cards. It's fine. And I think it's going to be even better when they are all colored up. And it's going to be easier to distinguish these cards from the fungi plant cards. But nice drawings to the game. And then you also have all of these landscape cards. So yeah, they are fine. I think they are all going to look even more beautiful when they are colored up like this. And it's a good quality, these cards. But again, this is a prototype, so I don't know how the final product is going to be. So we definitely enjoyed playing the game, and we played the group I played with. We are an experienced group, and we have played many cooperative games, different type of cooperative games, and we did manage to win all the games. We played 3 times and we won all of the games, and in one of the games we didn't even get any of these out. So that was also a game where everything just worked perfect for us. There is a description in the rule that you can start with fewer of these cards to make it more difficult for you when you play the game. The only thing is they don't distinguish between if you are 2, 3 or 4 players. I think they might have to look at that in the rules. I don't think the rules they are absolutely complete yet. I have gotten some update of the rules, and they have also added a point system. So when you finish the game, you can see how well you have done. And I can show you the current point system. But this may very much, this is not final, I think. This can very well also change. But I would definitely think when I looked at it and we had to look at how well we have done, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of things you need to count to see how well you have done. And I will definitely come with one recommendation here to make the point counting a lot more simple, because that was like, whoa, do I really have to sit and count all of these things? I don't know how it might be that you enjoy counting up this afterwards, but I kind of have, hey, I have won the game, and then yeah, it's okay if I want to count up the points. I just think it should be more simple the way you're going to count your points. But that is what I have at the moment. I'm not sure this is going to be the final rules for the game, for how you're going to calculate your points. And if you have a point system, I will definitely recommend that you come with something where you can see how well you have done, depending on how many points you're going to get. Have you been very bad at rewilding the world, or have you been really good or super awesome, or yeah, something like that. I like if you have a point system that you can see how well you have done in the game. This is a game that is soon going to be on Kickstarter. We definitely enjoyed playing the game, and I will recommend that they would also look a little bit at making and how you can make the game more difficult. So you can have an easy mode, you can have a super easy, maybe a beginner, a normal, and a hard, and then an extremely hard mode. I will recommend that they will put something like that in. Because I do have, when I play a game, if I lose the game, then I definitely want to play the game again and see if I can beat the game. And in this game, I think it's more like you have to see how well you can do it and how many points you're going to get. And then you can see if you can get even more points in the game. So you're kind of competing against yourself with the points. We definitely enjoyed playing the game, and I really like the way that you're going to cooperate in the game with looking at each other and helping each other in the game. So I like the deck building part of the game and the cooperative way the game is working. I just need them to look a little bit still on how the point system is, but as I said, I don't think it's totally finished yet. But this is an enjoyable, simple, easy game to teach and play, and definitely a family-friendly game. And if you want to see more about the game, how it is played, I have made a playthrough for you guys. And yeah, that is my look at Ecosfera. I will make sure to make a link in the description for both the Kickstarter and for my playthrough of the game. And I will say thank you for watching.